What if everything you've been taught about Mary, the mother of Jesus, was just a fragment of a much larger, more extraordinary truth? Have you ever wondered why the Gospels tell us almost nothing about her origins, as if some powerful force deliberately concealed her true identity from the world? For over a century, a remarkable secret has remained hidden in the shadows of religious history, a revelation so profound that it could forever transform your understanding of Christianity itself. Edgar Cayce, America's most documented psychic, accessed information that religious authorities have either overlooked or deliberately kept from public knowledge for generations. Has this ever happened to you? You're reading familiar biblical stories when suddenly you sense there's something missing, crucial pieces of a divine puzzle that would make everything else make sense. That feeling isn't coincidental. It's your intuition recognizing the gaps in a narrative that's been carefully filtered through centuries of religious doctrine. The traditional portrayal of Mary as merely an ordinary young woman randomly selected by divine grace barely scratches the surface of her true significance. What if I told you that Mary wasn't simply chosen? She was prepared across multiple lifetimes, her soul carefully preserved through a specific spiritual lineage that maintained the energetic purity necessary to receive the Messiah. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover reaches far beyond Nazareth and Bethlehem, connecting Mary's existence to lost civilizations and cosmic knowledge that predates even the formation of biblical nations. Cayce's psychic readings revealed that Mary was integral to a divine plan established millennia before her physical birth. A plan so intricate and far-reaching that it challenges the foundations of conventional religious teaching. According to Cayce's revelations, Mary's soul did not emerge from the ordinary flow of human incarnations. Instead, she came from a precisely maintained spiritual lineage designed specifically to preserve the vibrational frequency necessary for Christ consciousness to manifest in our physical realm. This makes her not just the mother of Jesus in a biological sense, but the guardian of a sacred code transmitted across countless generations. What's particularly fascinating is how this hidden knowledge places Mary at the center of a cosmic drama that spans continents and epochs. Her story connects to ancient temple mysteries, forgotten wisdom traditions, and spiritual practices deliberately erased from religious texts. The implications are staggering, suggesting that the divine plan for humanity's spiritual evolution was far more sophisticated and intentional than most religious scholars have ever acknowledged. What you're about to discover might surprise you, challenging your deepest beliefs while simultaneously illuminating why Mary has remained such a powerful, enigmatic presence across centuries. If Cayce's revelations are true, they don't diminish the miracle of Christ's birth. They amplify it, revealing the extraordinary cosmic orchestration that made such a divine incarnation possible. Have you ever wondered why the Gospels, these foundational texts of Christianity, provide us with almost no information about Mary's childhood, her spiritual development, or her family lineage? This absence of detail isn't a mere oversight or historical gap. According to Cayce's profound revelations, this omission was intentional, a deliberate protection of sacred knowledge until humanity evolved enough to receive it. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining the hidden architects behind this extraordinary journey. Both spiritual forces and human guardians worked in concert to shield these truths across millennia, waiting patiently for the precise moment when our collective consciousness could truly comprehend the magnificent orchestration behind Jesus' birth without distorting its essence. This revelation transforms our understanding of Mary's role completely. In Cayce's perspective, Mary wasn't simply a passive vessel. She was the perfect matrix of light, the living embodiment of divine feminine energy, calibrated across multiple lifetimes, specifically for her world-changing purpose. Understanding Mary's true origins becomes essential to understanding Christ himself. The vessel determines what can be contained. The frequency of the container must match the frequency of what it holds. If these revelations about Mary's hidden origins have resonated with your soul, join our community by hitting subscribe. We continuously uncover these ancient spiritual truths that have been concealed for centuries, bringing light to what has remained in shadow. Think about this revelation as a hidden key that unlocks a completely new mindset about spirituality itself. Mary's essence carried unique spiritual codes developed through incarnations spanning multiple eras and civilizations. Her body and soul contained vibrational patterns that made the miraculous incarnation of Christ consciousness possible in physical form. She was, in essence, the living bridge between heaven and earth, prepared through an unimaginable sequence of spiritual initiations and purifications. Behind the scenes of recorded history existed networks of secret communities dedicated to preserving sacred knowledge and protecting special bloodlines from corrupting influences. Cayce described these hidden guardians in remarkable detail, initiates who maintained the energetic and genetic purity necessary for specific souls to incarnate at pivotal moments in human evolution. Their work involved elaborate rituals of purification, sacred vows of secrecy, and often geographic isolation in remote locations far from the contaminating influences of spiritual darkness. These communities weren't simply religious orders as we understand them today. They were sophisticated keepers of ancient wisdom, maintaining practices and knowledge dating back to Atlantis and beyond. Their singular purpose? To ensure that the vessel for Christ would be immaculate, not just physically but vibrationally and spiritually aligned with cosmic purpose. The impact of these revelations cannot be overstated. They suggest a level of divine planning and cosmic intelligence operating throughout human history that few religious scholars have ever acknowledged. This hidden truth reveals that spirituality isn't random or accidental. It follows precise universal laws that operate with mathematical precision across dimensions of time and space. Does this resonate with something deep inside you? Many who encounter these revelations report experiencing an inexplicable sense of recognition, as if some part of their soul remembers these truths from beyond the veil of forgetting. Write "cosmic recognition" in the comments if you feel that inner knowing while hearing these revelations. What Cayce revealed about Mary invites us to fundamentally shift our perception of spiritual knowledge itself. If Mary was indeed one of these special souls with a predetermined cosmic mission, then her complete story exists beyond what was recorded in Scripture, beyond what religious authorities have preserved through doctrine. Her truth lives in what some mystics call the hidden archives of spirit, a dimensional repository of wisdom accessible only to those who have developed the inner sight to perceive it. This journey of discovery requires us to transcend our conventional mindset about how spiritual knowledge is transmitted. The most profound truths aren't always found in books or institutions. They often reside in the silence between words, in the whispers of intuition, in those moments of clarity that seem to arrive from beyond our ordinary awareness. Mary's complete narrative exists in this sacred space, waiting for those with the eyes to see and the hearts to comprehend. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring precisely how Cayce accessed these extraordinary revelations. Unlike historians who rely on fragmentary documents or theologians bound by Doctrinal constraints. Edgar Cayce employed a methodology that bypassed these limitations entirely. Through disciplined practice and natural gifts, he developed the ability to enter deep trance states, a form of heightened consciousness that transcended ordinary perception. In these elevated states of awareness, Cayce claimed to access what mystics throughout history have called the Akashic Records, a cosmic library containing the complete energetic imprint of every event, thought, and intention that has ever occurred throughout time. This isn't metaphorical language. It represents a literal dimension of consciousness where information exists in its purest, unfiltered form, free from human interpretation or political manipulation. It was through this direct connection to universal consciousness that Cayce received unprecedented insights into Mary's true origins and purpose. The veil between worlds thinned, allowing him to witness scenes from beyond the constraints of linear time, moments of profound spiritual significance that traditional history had never recorded. During one such trance session, Cayce described witnessing a vision of extraordinary beauty and significance. An intense golden light, not ordinary sunlight but something more refined and vibrationally pure, descended upon a temple of unfamiliar architecture. This sacred structure stood surrounded by lush gardens and waters of crystal clarity, suggesting a place of exceptional energetic purity maintained by advanced spiritual practitioners. Inside this sacred temple, figures dressed in immaculate white conducted rituals in profound silence, their movements precise, intentional, and imbued with cosmic purpose. At the center of this ceremony stood a child who Cayce intuitively understood to be a previous incarnation of the soul that would later be known as Mary. In this sacred moment, this child was being formally acknowledged and presented as the guardian of an ancient promise, a soul designated for a mission of cosmic significance that would unfold across multiple lifetimes. The profound implications of this vision challenge us to reconsider everything we thought we understood about spiritual development, divine purpose, and the preparation of souls across the vast expanse of time. If you've ever felt a deep knowing that your soul has been on a longer journey than just this lifetime, a journey with purpose and direction, type ancient soul in the comments below. What's particularly fascinating about Cayce's revelations is how they illuminate the extraordinary spiritual protection that surrounded Mary throughout her existence. His visions consistently showed her enveloped in a remarkable energy field, a luminous cocoon of light that actively repelled darkness and lower vibrations. This wasn't merely symbolic, but represented an actual energetic phenomenon that Cayce could perceive in his heightened state of awareness. This protective field wasn't random or simply bestowed upon her. It was meticulously cultivated through teachings and practices she received across multiple incarnations. As her soul journeyed through advanced spiritual communities, she integrated and embodied profound wisdom from diverse traditions. The brilliance of this protection came from its synthesis of seemingly separate spiritual lineages, combining the devotional purity of Essene practices with the energetic science of ancient Egypt and the vibrational knowledge preserved from Atlantean times. This revelation offers us a profound mindset shift about what spiritual protection truly means. It isn't about isolation from challenges, but about maintaining such a high frequency of consciousness that lower energies simply cannot attach or penetrate. Mary embodied this transformative wisdom, carrying it forward into her ultimate mission. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring what Cayce's visions revealed about the true nature of purity itself. During his trance states, Cayce heard guiding voices explaining a concept that challenges our conventional understanding. Purity is not the absence of error, but fidelity to divine purpose. This single statement revolutionizes how we understand Mary's significance. Traditional religious narratives have emphasized Mary's freedom from sin, a negative definition focused on what she lacked. But Cayce's revelation suggests something far more profound and active. Her true significance lay in her unwavering connection to divine plan. Regardless of external circumstances, an internal alignment so complete that it became her defining quality across lifetimes. This was the hidden secret of her spiritual preparation, a positive force of conscious alignment rather than mere avoidance of wrongdoing. When Cayce emerged from these profound visions, he understood the monumental importance of what he had witnessed. With painstaking attention to detail, he recorded everything, each symbol, each scene, each message, knowing that every element contained crucial keys to a cosmic puzzle that had remained unsolved for millennia. Yet he also recognized the profound responsibility that came with such revelations. Don't miss future revelations about the hidden spiritual history that connects us all. Subscribe now to continue this journey of discovery as we explore the mysteries that traditional teachings have overlooked, but that speak directly to your inner knowing. These truths about Mary's origins would inevitably challenge deeply entrenched beliefs, potentially creating division rather than enlightenment if shared prematurely. The revelations weren't meant to destroy faith, but to elevate it to a more comprehensive understanding. With remarkable wisdom, Cayce chose to preserve these truths, safeguarding them for a future time when humanity would possess the spiritual maturity and expansive consciousness necessary to receive them without fragmentation. This decision itself reflects a profound understanding of how spiritual evolution unfolds, not through forced revelations that overwhelm existing frameworks, but through graduated illumination that builds upon established foundations. If you recognize this pattern of divine timing in your own journey of awakening, moments when truth revealed itself precisely when you were ready to receive it, type divine timing in the comments below. This perspective fundamentally transforms our understanding of Mary's origins. From Cayce's viewpoint, we cannot pinpoint her, beginning to a single historical moment or geographic location. Her story unfolds across a vast tapestry of incarnations, a sequence of lives and missions meticulously designed to prepare her for the ultimate cosmic role she would fulfill. The universe itself became her teacher, shaping her soul through carefully orchestrated experiences and initiations across millennia. Each incarnation built upon the last, each lifetime adding another layer of wisdom, another facet of spiritual capacity, another thread in the luminous garment her soul would ultimately wear. This progressive journey of preparation reveals a divine blueprint behind human spiritual evolution that few religious traditions have fully acknowledged. A cosmic curriculum designed to awaken specific potentials within the soul across vast stretches of time. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining the specific civilizations where Mary's soul received crucial aspects of her preparation. According to Cayce's revelations, her journey included significant incarnations during the height of Atlantean civilization, a period of remarkable spiritual and technological advancement long before recorded history. During this Atlantean phase, Mary's soul served as a temple priestess, initiated into the most profound spiritual mysteries available on Earth at that time. Within those crystal temples of light, she mastered techniques for maintaining energetic purity that far surpassed what we understand today. Through sophisticated meditation practices and vibrational technologies now lost to time, she learned how to systematically purify her energetic fields, raising her frequency to harmonize with higher dimensional realities. These advanced Atlantean practices weren't merely theoretical, they restructured her very being at the cellular and energetic levels, creating pathways in her consciousness that would later enable her physical body to receive and sustain the extraordinarily refined Christ consciousness. Without being overwhelmed by its power, these revelations suggest that certain spiritual capacities require multiple lifetimes of sequential development rather than spontaneous awakening. After the cataclysmic fall of Atlantis, this same soul continued her journey by incarnating in Egypt during its spiritual golden age, a time when the mystery schools preserved fragments of Atlantean wisdom while developing new methodologies of spiritual transformation. In the temples along the Nile, she underwent initiations that built upon her previous Atlantean training, now integrating heart-centered devotion with the scientific precision she had mastered before. During this Egyptian incarnation, she became adept in the sacred sciences of light and sound, participating in temple ceremonies specifically designed to prepare specialized vessels for higher energetic transmissions. These weren't ordinary religious rituals, but sophisticated protocols for neurobiological and spiritual transformation, establishing the energetic foundations that would later enable her to sustain the extraordinary vibrational frequency required to birth and nurture the Christ. When we understand this progressive journey across civilizations, we begin to grasp how Mary's preparation transcended ordinary human development. If you've ever sensed that certain souls seem to carry wisdom that appears to exceed what could be gained in a single lifetime, type ancient wisdom in the comments below. After establishing these essential foundations through her Atlantean and Egyptian incarnations, Cayce revealed that Mary's soul continued her preparation by incarnating among the Hebrew peoples during the formative period of their covenant with the one God. This phase of her journey represents a crucial evolutionary breakthrough in her spiritual development. During this Hebrew incarnation, she encountered a revolutionary concept: monotheism, the devotion to a single divine source, rather than multiple aspects or expressions of divinity. This profound shift in perspective allowed her to integrate this focused devotional approach with the vast mystical knowledge she had acquired in previous lives. The result was transformative, a perfect synthesis of heart and mind, devotion and wisdom that would later characterize her unique approach to divine service. This integration wasn't merely intellectual but represented a complete harmonization of seemingly disparate spiritual streams into a cohesive whole. It created within her consciousness the perfect balance between surrender and empowerment, between humble service and spiritual mastery, qualities that would prove essential for her ultimate mission as the Mother of Christ. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining what Cayce described as the most extraordinary aspect of Mary's journey. Throughout his detailed visions of her multiple incarnations across vastly different civilizations and millennia, he traced a continuous spiritual thread that remained unbroken and unwavering. Despite the diverse cultural contexts and teachings she encountered, her soul maintained remarkably consistent qualities across all incarnations. This persistent signature of devotion, purity, and receptivity to divine light became her spiritual fingerprint, an energetic pattern that distinguished her soul's journey through time. These weren't merely personality traits, but represented core vibrational frequencies that she cultivated and strengthened life after life. This consistency wasn't accidental, but reflected her soul's unwavering commitment to its ultimate purpose, a purpose that transcended any single lifetime or culture. Behind the visible historical narrative of Mary's life was an invisible science, what Cayce referred to as an ancient science of preparation for divine births. This wasn't mystical speculation, but represented sophisticated practices known and implemented across multiple ancient cultures. specifically to prepare vessels for heightened spiritual transmission. This science involved precise protocols of dietary purification, vibrational attunement through sound and color, and specific forms of mental training designed to expand and purify consciousness. What makes this revelation particularly compelling is that Mary underwent these preparations not just in her final lifetime, but across multiple incarnations, a cumulative process that gradually restructured her very being at cellular and energetic levels. These weren't supernatural interventions, but worked with specific spiritual laws governing how consciousness interacts with physical matter. The end result was a living vessel with the precise vibrational capacity to receive, embody, and nurture the Christ consciousness without diminishing its potency. If you felt drawn to specific spiritual practices or dietary approaches that seem to call to you from beyond your current lifetime, type ancient remembering in the comments below. One of the most fascinating aspects of this hidden history is how it has been preserved in plain sight for centuries. According to Cayce, initiates and mystics who possessed fragments of Mary's true story deliberately embedded symbolic references throughout religious art across the ages. These weren't mere decorative elements, but constituted a sophisticated visual language designed to transmit forbidden knowledge across generations without attracting persecution. When we examine medieval icons, Renaissance masterpieces, and intricate cathedral architecture with this awareness, previously overlooked details suddenly reveal profound significance. The specific arrangement of stars around Mary's head, the particular flowers placed at her feet, the geometric patterns in her halo, and the color combinations in her garments, all containing coded references to her special origins and spiritual lineage. These visual keys remain visible only to those with the knowledge to interpret these symbolic languages, creating a parallel narrative accessible to initiates while appearing as conventional religious imagery to others. This revelation transforms our experience of religious art from passive appreciation to active discovery, inviting us to develop the perceptual awareness necessary to decode these hidden transmissions from the past. The preservation of this knowledge represents an extraordinary example of spiritual resistance, maintaining truth through creativity when direct expression was impossible. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring the community that played the most direct role in Mary's final preparation. Cayce provided remarkably detailed information about the Essene community, a group that served as the culminating influence in Mary's journey toward her ultimate mission. This wasn't merely another religious sect, but represented a sophisticated synthesis of ancient wisdom traditions preserved from Egyptian mystery schools and even earlier Atlantean sources. What made the Essenes uniquely qualified for this role was their ability to recognize Mary's special energy signature from early childhood. Through disciplines of heightened perception developed over generations, they could discern the vibrational pattern she carried, a luminous, energetic blueprint that revealed her predetermined purpose. This recognition wasn't random, but represented the fulfillment of prophecies and preparations spanning thousands of years. The Essenes protected Mary's development through specific spiritual practices, including specialized meditation techniques, vibrational sound ceremonies, and environmental purification protocols designed to shield her from lower frequencies that might compromise her energetic integrity. Their entire community functioned as a living incubator for the divine birthing process that would eventually manifest through her. Perhaps the most revolutionary aspect of Cayce's revelations was his assertion that Mary consciously agreed to her cosmic mission before incarnating. This fundamentally challenges traditional religious narratives that portray her as an ordinary young woman surprised by the angelic annunciation. According to Cayce, she carried spiritual awareness of her purpose from early childhood, though the complete details remained partially veiled until the moment of divine visitation. This conscious participation transforms our understanding of Mary from passive recipient to active co-creator of the divine plan. It suggests a level of spiritual agency and sovereignty that religious traditions have rarely acknowledged in their portrayal of her. If you've ever experienced moments of profound knowing about your life purpose that seem to originate from beyond your current lifetime, type soul contract in the comments below. Cayce's revelations about Mary's early life unveil a hidden chapter of extraordinary preparation that religious texts completely omit. Between the ages of 3 and 12, a period about which Scripture remains completely silent, Mary underwent intensive training within the protective sanctuary of the Essene community. This wasn't casual religious education, but a sophisticated developmental protocol designed specifically for her unique destiny. Her daily routine included advanced meditation techniques that would seem impossible for a child by our modern understanding. Yet, the Essenes recognized that children's consciousness remains naturally more fluid and receptive before the calcification of identity that typically occurs in adolescence. This timing was intentional, a developmental window where her neural pathways and energetic channels could be optimally shaped to receive higher frequencies of light. Her preparation included continuous immersion in sacred music, utilizing specific tonal patterns and harmonic combinations that restructured her nervous system and activated dormant spiritual capacities. The Essenes understood sound as a fundamental creative force, not metaphorically but literally, capable of reorganizing matter at the molecular level. Mary's body temple was literally tuned like a sacred instrument through these sophisticated sonic technologies. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring a dimension of Mary's identity that transcends physical bloodlines entirely. Beyond her documented Davidic ancestry, Cayce described what he called Mary's spiritual genealogy, a continuous lineage of souls who maintained particularly pure connections to divine source across multiple incarnations and civilizations. This soul family wasn't connected by physical DNA, but by vibrational resonance, a shared frequency and purpose that manifested at critical evolutionary thresholds throughout human history. At pivotal junctures, when humanity required spiritual breakthrough, members of this soul group incarnated to anchor specific light codes and consciousness templates into the planetary field. Mary represented the culmination and integration point of their collective work and wisdom, the vessel through which their multi-generational spiritual project would reach its fulfillment. This revelation transforms our understanding of spiritual influence and legacy. It suggests that our most significant connections transcend blood relations and span multiple lifetimes, soul agreements that create patterns of support and co-creation across the vastness of time itself. Following her foundational preparation with the Essenes, Mary's journey continued when she was brought to Jerusalem's temple at age 12. Here, in secluded quarters unknown to common worshippers, female initiates preserved the ancient feminine mysteries specifically related to divine birthing processes. This wasn't ordinary religious training, but the transmission of sacred knowledge about how consciousness interfaces with matter during conception and gestation. Under the guidance of elderly priestesses who recognized her destiny, Mary learned specialized breathing techniques that altered her biochemistry and specific meditations that activated dormant capacities within her reproductive system. These practices weren't symbolic, but created measurable changes in her cellular structure, hormonal balance, and energetic anatomy, all precisely calibrated to later facilitate her extraordinary conception of Jesus through immaculate means. If you've ever sensed that your preparation for your life's purpose began long before your conscious awareness of it, with specific experiences that only made sense in retrospect, Type divine preparation in the comments below. According to Cayce's profound insights, Mary's significance extends far beyond her individual identity. She embodied what mystics across traditions have recognized as the universal feminine principle, the creative, nurturing, receptive aspect of divinity itself. This revelation elevates our understanding of her role from simply a historical figure to a cosmic archetype, a living embodiment of the divine feminine energy that exists as an essential counterpart to divine masculine expression. This means that Mary's intensive preparation throughout multiple incarnations wasn't merely for her personal spiritual evolution, but represented a pivotal chapter in the evolution of divine feminine consciousness on Earth itself. She became both unique and universal simultaneously, a specific woman living in a particular historical moment, while also embodying an archetypal energy that transcends time. Through her journey, the divine feminine principle itself was being refined and elevated to unprecedented vibrational coherence. This embodiment process represents a profound template for spiritual transformation that applies universally. It demonstrates how individual souls can become vessels for archetypal energies, allowing cosmic principles to manifest through personal experience without losing their universality. This synthesis of the personal and universal creates extraordinary evolutionary potential. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring what Cayce described as the ultimate purpose of Mary's preparation. In his cosmological understanding, the conception of Jesus represented what alchemists would call a sacred marriage or alchemical wedding, the perfect union of divine masculine and feminine principles into a new creation that transcended both while containing their essence. Mary's preparation enabled her to consciously participate in this cosmic process rather than merely serve as an unconscious biological vessel. Her awakened presence transformed what might have been simply a miraculous physical conception into a fully conscious spiritual event that transcended ordinary biological functions. This represents a fundamental reframing of the Annunciation and conception from passive miracle to conscious co-creation between human and divine realms. This conscious participation required extraordinary spiritual development rarely acknowledged in religious doctrine. It suggests that Mary possessed mystical capacities and direct spiritual perception that allowed her to comprehend and engage with angelic communication at levels far beyond ordinary human awareness, a level of development that required multiple lifetimes of preparation. The physical mechanism that made this extraordinary conception possible was what Cayce described as codes of light, carried within Mary's cellular structure. These weren't metaphorical, but represented actual patterns of energy accumulated through disciplined spiritual practice across multiple lifetimes. These codes functioned as vibrational templates that had progressively transformed her physical body at the molecular level. These light codes allowed her body to sustain the intensely high vibrational frequencies necessary for Christ consciousness to incarnate without diminishment. Without this precise vibrational matching, the extraordinary spiritual energy-seeking incarnation would have literally overwhelmed an ordinary human vessel, like electricity overloading a circuit not designed to carry its voltage. If you've ever experienced moments where your body seemed to be undergoing energetic upgrades or recalibrations that felt both challenging and purposeful, type light activation in the comments. Another remarkable revelation from Cayce's readings concerns the precise timing of Mary's incarnation. Far from random, her birth was meticulously calculated according to cosmic cycles that few modern scholars have recognized. Her entrance into physical embodiment corresponded with specific planetary alignments and stellar configurations that created optimal conditions for her unprecedented mission. These weren't merely symbolic associations, but represented actual energetic gateways, moments when the veil between dimensions thinned, allowing higher frequencies to anchor more completely into physical form. This cosmic timing continued throughout her journey, with the Annunciation and Conception precisely aligned with specific celestial patterns that amplified the potential for divine-human collaboration. The revelation about this cosmic orchestration transforms our understanding of divine intervention from arbitrary miracle to precise spiritual science operating according to universal principles. It suggests a level of coordination between heavenly and earthly realms that transcends our conventional understanding of time and causality. This hidden truth reveals how transformation at the highest level follows precise universal rhythms, cosmic windows of opportunity that open according to mathematical principles rather than random divine whim. These patterns continue to influence spiritual breakthroughs today for those with perception to recognize them. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring the human support system that surrounded Mary's journey. According to Cayce, Mary didn't undertake her extraordinary mission in isolation, but belonged to a largely undocumented community of women who had preserved ancient wisdom about sacred birth processes across millennia. These weren't ordinary midwives, but spiritual initiates who maintained specific practices designed to facilitate the incarnation of souls carrying particularly high vibrational frequencies. This hidden sisterhood operated behind the scenes of recorded history, maintaining spiritual technologies that enabled certain souls to enter physical embodiment without losing their connection to higher realms. Their collective energy field provided crucial support for Mary throughout her pregnancy and Jesus' early development, creating a protective cocoon of coherent frequency that shielded this extraordinary mother-child dyad from lower vibrations that might have compromised their mission. This revelation offers a profound window into how spiritual breakthrough often requires collective effort rather than isolated individual achievement. The greatest transformations in consciousness are typically supported by communities of practice that hold space for evolutionary potential to manifest fully. Mary's extraordinary knowledge extended to what we might today call celestial mechanics. Cayce revealed that she possessed sophisticated understanding of cosmic influences, including star patterns, stellar cycles, and celestial mathematics. This astronomy-based wisdom had been carefully preserved from Atlantean and Egyptian traditions through mystery school lineages, equipping her with a multidimensional understanding of how heavenly movements affect consciousness and physical development. This star knowledge informed her understanding of optimal timing for conception and birth, explaining why the Star of Bethlehem held special significance beyond mere symbolic announcement. She could comprehend its appearance as confirmation of cosmic alignment with the divine plan she had consciously participated in creating. This reveals a lost science connecting celestial movements with human consciousness, a connection that modern culture has largely forgotten, but that ancient traditions recognized as fundamental to spiritual evolution. If you've noticed that your most significant spiritual breakthroughs often align with specific celestial events or cosmic cycles, type celestial timing in the comments below. When we translate Cayce's revelations into contemporary scientific understanding, a fascinating picture emerges. What he described in spiritual terms parallels what advanced epigenetic research now suggests is possible, that Mary underwent what we might call a form of DNA activation through her intensive spiritual practices. This wasn't metaphorical, but represented a literal process where dormant genetic potential within her physical body was gradually awakened and expressed. This activation didn't alter the fundamental DNA sequence, but affected how her genetic code expressed itself, which genes were switched on or off, and how efficiently they functioned. Through generations of preparation across multiple lifetimes, culminating in her final embodiment, her physical vessel developed the extraordinary capacity to sustain frequencies of consciousness far higher than ordinary humans could tolerate, a prerequisite for housing the Christ consciousness during gestation without cellular breakdown. This revelation bridges ancient wisdom and cutting-edge science, suggesting that spiritual practice can have measurable effects on our physical biology, literally transforming our capacity to embody higher consciousness through disciplined intention. The blueprint for this transformation exists within each of us, though few activate it to its fullest potential. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring one of the primary methodologies used in Mary's preparation. Cayce provided detailed descriptions of specific sound frequencies employed in her developmental process. This wasn't casual music, but represented a sophisticated sound science that understood the direct relationship between vibration and matter. Sacred chants using precise tonal patterns, crystal bowls tuned to specific frequencies, and specially designed instruments produced vibrational fields that literally restructured Mary's cellular memory, clearing ancestral patterns that might have limited her capacity and optimizing her nervous system to handle intensified divine energy without burnout. These sound technologies weren't merely symbolic, but created measurable changes in her biological functioning through resonance principles that modern science is only beginning to rediscover. This sound healing preparation worked directly with what quantum physicists now recognize, that at the subatomic level, all matter is essentially vibrating energy. By applying precise frequencies, the subtle architecture of Mary's physical vessel was gradually refined to become the perfect resonance chamber for divine conception. This transformation required years of consistent exposure to these vibrational fields, a patient alchemy that couldn't be rushed. Perhaps most remarkable among Mary's preparations was her mastery of what Cayce called divine languages, preserved from pre-Babel times. These weren't ordinary communication systems, but represented sacred sound patterns that carried creative power capable of directly affecting physical matter. The sounds themselves contained mathematical codes that could reorganize energy fields through precise resonance effects. Her facility with these ancient vibrational languages enabled direct communication with angelic realms and comprehension of cosmic transmissions that exist beyond ordinary human perception. This wasn't mystical fantasy, but represented a sophisticated technology of consciousness that understood sound as a fundamental creative force in the universe. If you've ever experienced the transformative power of certain sounds, tones, or languages that seem to resonate with something ancient within you, type "sacred sound" in the comments below. Throughout her preparation, Cayce revealed that Mary underwent profound transformational experiences that ancient mystery schools referred to as water and fire initiations. These weren't symbolic ceremonies, but represented actual energetic processes that fundamentally altered her capacity to embody divine consciousness. The water initiations worked primarily with her emotional body, ritualistic purifications that dissolved karmic patterns, emotional blockages, and limiting beliefs that would have hindered her divine mission. These water ceremonies often involved sacred pools or natural springs whose molecular structure had been altered through sound and intention to carry specific healing frequencies. Immersion in these waters created a quantum field that literally restructured the water molecules within Mary's own cells, clearing dissonant patterns and aligning her emotional body with higher vibrational templates of divine love. Complementing these water initiations were even more intense fire initiations, processes specifically designed to transform her spiritual energy centers, or what Eastern traditions call chakras. These ceremonies utilized focused light, sacred geometries, and specific breathing protocols to progressively refine her energetic anatomy, preparing her to withstand the powerful influx of divine energy during conception without cellular damage or nervous system overload. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring a revelation that challenges our conventional understanding of Mary's family background. According to Cayce's readings, Mary's mother Anna wasn't an ordinary woman, but herself an advanced initiate who had consciously prepared for Mary's birth through spiritual practices spanning decades. The divine plan for Christ's incarnation didn't begin with Mary, but extended back at least another generation to Anna's own preparation. Cayce described how Anna received specific guidance through dreams and angelic visitations about protocols to follow during pregnancy to optimize Mary's developmental environment. These included dietary practices, sound immersion, meditation techniques, and even the regulation of thoughts and emotions to create the most harmonious, energetic field possible for her developing child. This conscious gestation created optimal conditions for Mary's spiritual potential to fully activate even before birth. This mother-daughter transmission of wisdom continued throughout Mary's childhood as Anna personally instructed her in secret practices preserved from ancient temple traditions. Teachings normally reserved for priestesses after years of preparation, but shared directly with Mary from her earliest years. This intimate transmission of knowledge created an unbroken lineage of feminine wisdom that had been carefully preserved despite patriarchal religious structures that often suppressed women's spiritual leadership. During her years in Jerusalem's temple, Mary gained access to an extraordinary resource that few knew existed, a secret library containing texts from multiple ancient traditions, carefully hidden from Roman authorities and religious orthodoxy. These weren't ordinary scrolls, but included preserved fragments from Alexandria's legendary library, Esoteric Essene records, and even texts said to date back to Atlantean times, preserved through multiple civilizations by dedicated initiates. This hidden repository contained knowledge about cosmology, sound science, sacred geometry, and divine human communication that far exceeded anything available in conventional religious education. Mary's comprehensive study of these diverse wisdom streams provided her with an unprecedented understanding of humanity's relationship with divinity, a multi-dimensional perspective that transcended the limitations of any single tradition. If you've ever sensed that the most profound spiritual knowledge still remains hidden from public awareness, preserved by those who recognize its power, type "Keeper of Secrets" in the comments below. Throughout her preparation journey, Mary received divine guidance through an extraordinary channel that most of us access but rarely fully utilize: the dream state. Cayce revealed that Mary received consistent and vivid guidance through dreams and waking visions that served as direct communication. Portals with higher realms. These weren't ordinary dreams, but prophetic experiences that showed her fragments of her future mission and provided specific instructions for her spiritual development. During these dream states, the veils between dimensions thinned, allowing Mary to receive downloads of information and energy that accelerated her preparation. Sometimes these communications arrived as symbolic imagery that she would later decipher with help from her teachers. Other times they manifested as direct instruction from angelic beings who appeared with remarkable clarity in her consciousness. This consistent divine communication strengthened her resolve during challenging periods, and provided precise guidance that clarified her extraordinary purpose. This revelation invites us to reconsider our own dream experiences as potential channels for higher wisdom rather than random neural activity. The ancient practice of dream incubation, intentionally seeking guidance through the dream state, represents a forgotten technology of consciousness that Mary utilized with remarkable proficiency. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining what all this preparation ultimately created. Mary's lifelong spiritual training, combined with development across multiple incarnations, created an unshakable foundation that enabled her to face extraordinary challenges that would have overwhelmed someone without such preparation. The public scrutiny, potential rejection, displacement, and ultimately witnessing her son's crucifixion required psychological and spiritual fortitude beyond ordinary human capacity. This unshakable foundation wasn't created overnight, but represented the culmination of disciplines spanning multiple lifetimes. Like a master architect who understands that a towering structure requires a proportionally deep foundation, the divine plan ensured that Mary's preparation was commensurate with the monumental challenges her mission would entail. This reveals a profound spiritual principle, that our greatest challenges are preceded by preparation that develops the exact capacities we will require, even when that preparation isn't consciously recognized as such. When Cayce accessed these revelations about Mary's true origins and preparation, he made a significant decision that reveals his profound spiritual wisdom. He did not immediately reveal everything he discovered, recognizing that some truths could potentially destabilize traditional faith if exposed prematurely to those unprepared to receive them. Instead, he recorded certain revelations only in private readings, preserving them for a future time when humanity would have evolved spiritually enough to receive the full picture of Mary's cosmic significance without fragmentation or misunderstanding. This careful guardianship of truth demonstrates a profound understanding of how spiritual evolution unfolds, not through overwhelming revelations that shatter existing frameworks, but through graduated illumination that builds upon established foundations. Some aspects of Mary's story were simply too revolutionary for the collective consciousness of Cayce's time, requiring decades or even centuries more spiritual maturation before they could be properly integrated. Perhaps the most transformative implication of Cayce's revelations about Mary is profoundly personal. Her extraordinary story illuminates the potential that exists within all humans. If Mary's soul was carefully prepared across ages for her divine mission, might each of us similarly be evolving toward a specific purpose within the cosmic plan? This perspective invites us to discover our own unique spiritual destiny in service to divine intention. If you sense that your life experiences, even the challenging ones, might be preparing you for a purpose greater than you've yet recognized, type "divine preparation" in the comments below. As we conclude this journey into the hidden truth about Mary's origins, I'm struck by how these revelations continue to resonate across time, speaking to something ancient and knowing within each of us. Perhaps that's why Edgar Cayce preserved these insights, knowing that when the right moment arrived, souls who were ready to receive this wisdom would somehow find their way to it. If these revelations have awakened something within you, a recognition that transcends intellectual curiosity, I'd love to hear from you. Simply write "divine recognition" in the comments if you felt that inexplicable sense of remembering rather than merely learning something new. If you've found value in these hidden spiritual truths that connect ancient wisdom with your own spiritual journey, consider becoming part of our community by subscribing. Each week we explore these veiled dimensions of spiritual knowledge that conventional teachings rarely acknowledge. but that resonate deeply with those who sense there's more to our existence than we've been taught. Your like on this video helps others discover these transformative revelations that have remained in the shadows for too long. It's a simple gesture that creates ripples far beyond what we might imagine. For those ready to go deeper into these mystery teachings, there's a video right here exploring the hidden connection between ancient Egypt's temple practices and the lost techniques for activating your own light body. Click and continue this exploration with me there as we recover more pieces of our forgotten spiritual heritage together. Remember, when truth resonates at the soul level, it's not just information being transmitted, it's remembrance being awakened.